Hello, and welcome to Ask Dalya Live with me, Dalya Massachi. Get your grant-related questions answered here every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at noon Pacific Time. In each session of Ask Dalya Live, I answer grant-related questions that people like you have asked me. If you would like to ask a question today, please leave a comment in the comment box. If you'd rather just listen in, no problem, that's totally fine. Of course, if you miss a session of Ask Dalya Live, or if you want to watch again, look for the recordings right here on the Writing for Community Success page on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Instagram, all linked below. Now, you may already know that I've been a successful nonprofit grant writer for about 25 years. I'm also pleased to work with new and emerging grant writers in many different organizations as their writing coach. Don't forget to check out my popular on-demand 5-course track, which I co-created with TechSoup. It's conveniently called Grant Writing and Management, and it includes all the guidance and tools you'll need to get started on your way to grant success. I recently presented a free introductory webinar. All of those links appear in this video's description. I've learned my share of lessons in the grant world, and now I want to share that knowledge with you. So let's take a look at the questions that came in. Question number 1. How can our organization's strategic plan help us attract grants? Good question. Funders are always pleased to hear that an organization has a strong strategic plan in place. In fact, sometimes they even ask for that document as a grant attachment. Creating a solid strategic plan means you are serious about taking a look at your organization from all sides in the proper context. From going through the process of developing a strategic plan, you'll get a good sense of both your programmatic priorities for the next few years and the funds you're going to need to get there. You're demonstrating your commitment over the long term and showing how everything you do now is part of a larger strategy for success. You'll be able to show funders how their grant dollars will contribute to progress on a larger scale, even if their funding is very short term. By sharing your strategic roadmap, your funders can celebrate with you as you arrive at landmarks and milestones along the way. Question number 2. Do we have to be a legal nonprofit to receive grants? The answer to that will depend on what kind of grants you're talking about. Most foundations and corporations will only give grants to official nonprofits, so you will either need your own nonprofit tax status or a fiscal sponsor. By the way, a fiscal sponsor is a like-minded nonprofit that agrees to administratively sponsor you and lends you their ability to fundraise and accept donations. If you're thinking about government grants, that's kind of a different ballgame, and you may not have to be an official nonprofit. Most government agencies allow themselves to give funding to small businesses too, and it's usually through grants or contracts. Also, there are some exceptions to these general rules that I've just told you about, so you should confirm with any specific funders that you're interested in. They may have different regulations or different restrictions. Okay, question number 3. Do you have any advice on how we can make our organization stand out in a crowded field, given the fierce competition for funding? You are right that there's always a lot of competition for grants. To help funders distinguish among the different organizations in your field, you should talk about what makes you different from similar groups and the advantages of sponsoring or supporting your unique work. For example, You may be addressing a particularly crucial issue that often gets overlooked or is underappreciated. Maybe your organization advocates for a breakthrough approach to solving a certain problem, but it remains kind of under the radar of grant makers. Or perhaps you're working with a severely underserved community that few other organizations engage with. Allow me to suggest that you may even take this idea one step further. You might want to show how your work in collaboration with other organizations in your field sets your partnership apart. That is, working together as partners, maybe your collaboration or your coalition can be set apart as a great example of organizations working together to get more done. You all may have decided to move beyond competition, and you've started working together as a group that funders can get behind. Just a note of caution here. While we all like to think that our work is unique, essential, and groundbreaking, that can't always be the case. Of course, right? It behooves you as a change maker to get your facts straight and to do your research. Exaggeration has no place in your grant writing, so don't do it. And you certainly don't want your potential funders to doubt your integrity or your knowledge of your field. If you cannot find anyone else doing your work, doing it the way you're doing it, or with the same people that you're doing it, or you have discovered a new solution to an age-old problem, by all means, tell funders about that. Otherwise, explain how your work plays an especially important role in your field, or it changes the conversation altogether. Okay, question number 4. In your grant writing and management course series, what kind of samples are included? Well, I can tell you that in the course series, we use a sample organization to demonstrate the whole process of planning and writing a grant proposal. First, we go through a 5-step planning model that leads to lots of samples, including a sample letter of inquiry, a sample narrative proposal, and a sample budget. We also use a funder research worksheet and a funder conversation worksheet, and we also review a sample request for proposals, or RFP. We even use a checklist to do a mock review of your grant proposal, and we revise a sample one that could be improved. Well, that wraps up today's session of Ask Dalya Live. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget, I'm here every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at noon Pacific time. Be sure to drop by again and tell your friends and colleagues. Recordings are available on the Writing for Community Success Facebook page. Just scroll to the videos section. You can also find them on my YouTube channel, along with many other grant-related videos that I have made. If you have a question for a future session of Ask Dalya Live, just fill out the form in the link below. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google Business. The links are all appear in the description below. You can also sign up for my newsletter on my website, which is www.writingtomakeadifference.com. I look forward to hearing about your grant successes and answering one or more of your questions during the next session of Ask Dalya Live on Wednesday, August 25th. See you then!